September 12, 2025, Burnside, on Chicago's South Side, 10:30 in the morning. The late morning quiet is shattered by a hail of gunfire on East 93rd Street. Witnesses recall a car creeping up near 816 E 91st, then an eruption of over 24 shots. When the smoke clears, 23-year-old Jeremiah Lil Deuce Dawson lies bleeding on the sidewalk. He's been hit multiple times in the head, a deliberate execution. Panicked calls flood 911 as the shooters speed away. A local news report explains solemnly, the young man was walking along the 800 block of East 93rd when a vehicle pulled up and someone opened fire. He was struck several times and rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where he later died. Police recover around 30 shell casings at the scene and even found a handgun amidst the blood and shattered glass. It's a grim indicator that Lil Deuce, notorious on these streets, was armed and ready, yet never stood a chance against this brazen daylight ambush. The killing is precise and personal. Lil Deuce is a name that rings out in Chicago's underworld, a rising drill rapper, a feared gang hitman, and by some accounts, a man with 20 bodies to his name. Tonight we unravel the story of Lil Deuce, how a boy from Chicago's South Side became an urban legend, and how he met his violent end in the very streets that forged him. Burnside, a tiny...
Welcome to the channel. Here we go again. Another crash out. And it didn't end well for him.
neighborhood on Chicago's South Side is a community often lost in the shadow of more infamous areas. Tucked between Roseland and Chatham, its streets have seen their share of struggle. This is where Jeremiah Dawson grew up, a place where opportunities were scarce but trouble was plentiful. A former neighbor recalls, "This neighborhood, man, it forces kids to grow up fast. I remember Jeremiah as a quiet kid, but he was drawn to the older boys on the block. By age 10, he was already hanging around street corners, well past dark." On a Chirac forum, one commenter noted, "Yes, he was 12, but so what? Lil Yummy caught a body at 11. Lil Deuce said himself he'd been off the porch since 10. And
damn. Dude caught his first body when he was 12? Man.
Chicago slang, off the porch, means getting involved in street life. For Lil Deuce, childhood ended almost as soon as it began. He was a child soldier in an urban war, coming of age amid gunfire and grief. At 14 years old, Jeremiah witnessed his first trauma. "I watched my homie die at 14. It changed my life," he later recalled in the Hood documentary.
Yeah, that'll definitely change your life, seeing your best friend get killed that young. That will change a lot of things about you.
The boy who would become Lil Deuce saw his friend gunned down in front of him. That incident, he said, hardened him forever. It was a...
The violence started early with this dude, him and his homies.
Pivotal moment when, by his own account, any remaining innocence burned away. A local youth mentor explains, "These kids suffer extreme PTSD, but in these neighborhoods, it's just called normal life." When it's...
That's one of the dudes that you gotta watch out for when you see the gang coming. You see that little dude, that's gonna be the craziest one, especially if he already had some of his teeth is knocked out. Cause we see he missing a tooth, so you know he wild.
His friend was killed. Jeremiah stopped being that sweet kid we knew. He started going by Lil Deuce and running with the wrong crowd.
I always thought that was weird too. When I see these little YNs and they already got their fronts knocked out. That's wild to me. Then it's like, damn, they just running around with their teeth is missing. They ain't gonna go get that fixed. Crazy.
In the underworld of Chicago's gangland, Lil Deuce quickly earned a reputation. By his late teens, he was known by two names, Lil Deuce and Scoon. He became affiliated with the crew called DMG, a set based around 63rd Street, 6300, and allied with certain gangster disciples factions. Those who knew him say he was fiercely loyal to his block and utterly ruthless to his enemies. A local street journalist explains, Lil Deuce was what you'd call a hitter, On the streets, people whispered that he was a hitman for DMG, the guy you send when you need someone handled. Indeed, in online circles, many acknowledged Deuce's deadly resume.
Like I said, it's always the littlest dude in the gang. You gotta look out for them, man. They always got something to prove.
One Reddit user wrote after his death, "Huge loss. Deuce was a rapper and a known hitman for DMG. How many murders can one young man really commit?" Some say Lil Deuce racked up 20 kills before he turned 23.
What? What the hell? This fool had 20 bodies before he was 23? Hold on, let me run that back. I don't know if I heard that right. Hold on.
Deadly resume. One Reddit user wrote after his death, "Huge loss. Deuce was a rapper and a known hitman for DMG. How many murders can one young man really commit?" Some say Lil Deuce racked up 20 kills before he turned 23. A number so high it sounds like street lore, but disturbingly,
20
even
before
other gang members treat.
That boy had 20 bodies before the age of 23. A lot of people that go to war don't even have that many bodies. Wild.
Did it as plausible. In one recent video interview, an allied gangster called Kill Bill claimed that between the two of them, they had 20 bodies on the scorecard. If true, it would make Lil Deuce one of the most prolific triggermen in modern Chicago gang history.
Wow.
None of these murders were ever pinned on Jeremiah Lil Deuce Dawson in court. Witnesses don't talk, and evidence is scarce in the street. But ask around the South Side and you'll hear the tales. A rival killed here, an enemy ambushed there. Anonymous source from a rival neighborhood says he was like a ghost. You never saw him coming. The legend of Lil Deuce grew with each whisper of an unsolved hit. On Reddit's board, where Chicago gang happenings are analyzed obsessively, one user asked incredulously if the stories were true. So this nigga DMG Lil Deuce actually still got his left leg? I could have sworn I seen bro with a peg leg, a comment to Joe.
He walked like he got a peg
Deuce had been
leg.
shot so bad he lost a limb. It wasn't true. Lil Deuce had both legs, but it shows how infamous he'd become. People traded outrageous lore about him as if he were an urban boogeyman. Though enmeshed in violence, Lil Deuce also had ambitions beyond the block. He started making drill music, channeling his experiences into raw, gritty lyrics. As DMG Lil Deuce, he dropped tracks on YouTube and gained a local following. His music videos, like Head Taps, a collaboration with 317 Kill Bill, featured him flashing gang signs surrounded by his crew in front of murals and street corners. He claimed the lyrics bragged about shootings and taunted foes. The line between art and confession often blurred. A producer who worked with him recalls, he actually had talent. In the studio, he was focused. He wanted to make it big in rap, maybe leave the streets behind, but he also felt compelled to represent his set in every bar. In Chicago's fractious gang scene, Lil Deuce made plenty of enemies. He was allied with rapper Lil Zay Osama, and together they feuded with rival factions like the Black Disciples Set 600. Deuce didn't shy away from disrespecting rivals publicly. In one video clip circulating on social media, Lil Deuce and Lil Zay Osama can be seen boldly yelling, "Fuck 600 and they dead homies." Deuce sneers that 600 extinct. They should change their name. Such public taunts only added fuel to the fire. One of the most heated conflicts involved the Black Disciples crew known as Bashville Crazy, BVC, from 71st and Wabash. The summer of 2025 was especially bloody. A chain of revenge killings rocked the South Side. First, a respected member of the THF set AI with BDs, known as TP, was shot dead. In retaliation, a BBC member nicknamed Man Man allegedly went on a mission and killed someone from the opposing side.
Who, Man Man? Don't tell me Man Man had something to do with this.
Man Man himself was then targeted and killed not long after. Rumors swirled that Lil Deuce's crew had a hand in Man Man's murder and that this put a target squarely on Deuce's back. In late October 2025, an OTF affiliated rapper, THF Beju, was gunned down in Lil Village, a hit widely seen as part of the same deadly feud.
We all heard about
Instagram
that.
Live shortly after Lil Deuce's death, an OG known as Big Folks from 6300 speculated about the connections. As one Redditor recounted, this was Big Folks after Deuce died. He thinks BVC killed Deuce and Bezu in retaliation for BVC's Man Man. It's an eye for an eye for an eye, a spiral of killings with no end in sight. Indeed, the bad blood was evident online. When Lil Deuce was killed, rival gang members celebrated. A week later, a high-ranking member of THF took to social media with a chilling message. He posted a caption ending in 6,300K, essentially calling for 6,300 killer, a disrespect aimed at Lil Deuce's home set.
And this is one of the reasons why these gang beefs never end. They go on for many years, decades, because the disrespect doesn't end, man. They disrespecting dead homies. It's like it'll just never end, man.
In the dark lexicon of gangland, adding a K, killer, to someone's block or crew is a way of claiming responsibility or intent to kill more. The message is clear. Deuce's death was not an accident, and the war was far from over. Despite his growing fame in the streets and online, Jeremiah Lil Deuce Dawson was no stranger to law enforcement. By 18, he already had a rap sheet. In fact, Cook County court records show a series of gun charges as he entered adulthood. July 2020, age 18, arrested for aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, caught with a loaded gun and no firearm permit. January 2022, age 19, busted with a machine gun in a vehicle, an extraordinarily serious charge under Illinois Law 720 ILCS 5/24 1A7.
It said that boy had a machine gun. Boy, the war in Chirac is definitely real.
December 2022, age 20, caught possessing a firearm with the defaced serial number, an indication the gun was likely stolen or intended for illicit use.
Right.
Other miscellaneous offenses, including a charge akin to criminal trespass to a vehicle, suggesting he may have been involved in carjackings or using stolen cars for missions. Each time,
man, that boy was doing any and everything, it sound like, all for the benefit of a gang.
Lil Deuce managed to slip through prolonged incarceration, often by posting bail or due to lenient plea deals for young offenders. By 2025, he was out on the street despite these arrests, though under watch. Chicago police had him listed in the city's gun offender registry, a program that requires those with gun convictions to check in annually. A CPD gang unit officer speaking anonymously admits, "We definitely knew who Lil Deuce was. He had priors for weapons. We suspected him in multiple shootings, but we never had a witness willing to come forward. It was frustrating. He was right there in front of us, but untouchable."
Damn, that boy was cold. The police knew he was responsible for a lot of people losing their lives and a lot of other crimes, it sound like. But they just couldn't get him. The boy was slippery and slimy.
Being on the gun offender registry meant Lil Deuce had to periodically update his address and meet with police. It was intended to keep tabs on guys like him. Ironically, that requirement may have set him up for the perfect ambush.
Damn.
September 12th was one of those check-in days. He was doing his annual registry update in his own neighborhood. Perhaps he thought being close to home in Burnside in daylight would be safe.
Right.
It wasn't. Surveillance cameras show Lil Deuce outside a local community center in Burnside, the designated site for his registry check-in. He's wearing a black hoodie, one hand in his pocket. Neighbors wave to him. Here, he's something of a dark folk hero. The kid who made a name for himself in all the wrong ways, but a familiar face nonetheless.
The kid
finishes
that
the
did.
paperwork inside and steps back out onto the 91st Street sidewalk. He pulls out his phone, perhaps checking messages or calling a friend for a ride.
First mistake, phone. The phones is always a downfall because it throws your attention off. You get distracted and you're not seeing what's going on around you or what's coming from you or coming for you, I mean.
Unbeknownst to him, a hit team is already in motion. A gray sedan idles at the corner, just out of sight. As Lil Deuce lingers near the curb, the car pulls up slowly.
Ain't even see it coming.
Window, a hand with a black pistol extends. Without warning, a burst of bullets flies toward Lil Deuce. Pop, 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 pop. He tries to react.
Damn.
Eyewitnesses later say they saw him reach for his waistband, but the onslaught is too sudden.
Too
Bullets
late.
rip into his chest and head, shattering the quiet morning. Lil Deuce collapses to the ground as the driver hits the gas, tires screeching. The getaway car vanishes down Cottage Grove Avenue, leaving chaos in its wake. One resident who dove behind a parked car for cover says, "I heard like brr, at least 20 shots. When I looked."
Damn. Did they come with the stickies? The blickies? They hit him with the switchy, sound like to me.
I saw him on the ground. I ran over. I recognized it was Lil Deuce. He was barely breathing. Police and paramedics arrived within minutes, finding Jeremiah Dawson unconscious, barely clinging to life. They rushed him to the nearest trauma center, the University of Chicago Medical Center, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The assassins had made sure the job was done. Multiple gunshot wounds to the head left no chance of survival. The news broke almost immediately on social media. Within an hour of the shooting, Chicago drill pages and forums were ablaze with posts about Lil Deuce's demise. One popular Instagram page, Chicago Hits, shared a post, "RIP to DMG Lil Deuce, who was shot and killed an hour ago. Shoot crazy."
Man, that's a terrible way to go, too. Multiple shots to the head. Ugly, man. Ugly.
Racked up thousands of likes almost instantly. The streets knew Lil Deuce's name, and his death was big news. Both mourned and celebrated, depending on which side you were on. As word spread, reactions poured in from all corners. Friends, foes, and onlookers. In Burnside and among his DMG crew, there was shock and grief. Family members of Jeremiah Dawson gathered at the hospital, crying and consoling each other. How do you mourn a young man who lived by the gun and died by it?
Right.
To them, he was also a son, a brother, maybe a father figure to younger kids on the block. A family friend insists, eyes red from tears. He had a good heart beneath it all. People only see the gang stuff, but he was also the kid who carried groceries for old ladies on the street. That's the Lil Deuce I remember. On the opposite side of town, rival gang members rejoiced. To them, Lil Deuce's death was the long-awaited removal of a deadly adversary.
Right, because this right here is who probably damn near everybody remember. Deucey with the blicky. That's what he was known for.
On Reddit's Gang Watch forum, some comments were chillingly gleeful. One user mocked the way Deuce was killed, writing,
"Damn,
baked his ass in an easy bake," comparing the hail of bullets to cooking someone in an oven. It's a disturbingly casual way to describe a young man's violent death, but
man, it's just a shame to me how disrespectful this shit gets. It's wild, man.
In these forums, such dark humor is common. Another simply wrote "Rip Bozo" under a news post, using the disrespectful slang to celebrate the downfall of an enemy. Perhaps most telling was a short video that surfaced on the internet, a shaky cell phone clip apparently showing the aftermath of the shooting. The voice behind the camera was reportedly a rival gang member known as Lil J from 757. He filmed Lil Deuce's body as first responders worked on him, chuckling and taunting the dying man on the ground. The video sparked outrage, but also applause from those entrenched in the cycle of vengeance.
Yeah, that was too disrespectful. Recording that, laughing and all that, with that man down like that. Hella disrespectful, man.
Meanwhile, Lil Deuce's allies issued warnings of their own. Lil Zay Osama, the Chicago rapper who is Deuce's close friend and mentor, went on social media live, visibly agitated. He didn't name names, but his message was fiery. "Y'all gonna pay for this. On 6300, this ain't over," he shouted, referencing their block. His older brother Big Folks took to Instagram Live as well, railing against enemies he believed were responsible and urging restraint from his own side to regroup and strategize. A community activist who works with high-risk youth explains, "It's sad, but the first reaction is always retaliation. They don't get a chance to truly mourn. It's immediately, who did it? How can we hit them back?" Already that morning, I heard talk on the streets of loading up guns for payback. Officially, the murder of Jeremiah.
Man. The situation can't even be 5 minutes old without retaliation. It's crazy, man, and it's a shame.
Lil Deuce Dawson remains unsolved. Chicago police opened a homicide case, but no suspects were immediately in custody. Detectives canvassed the area for witnesses. In a neighborhood gripped by fear, cooperation was minimal. One detective described it as pulling teeth to get any info. People had seen a gray sedan and heard the gunshots, but nobody claimed to see a face or license plate.
Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You already know that. But if they put enough money up, I guarantee you, somebody will. Money talks, man. They start putting out big rewards for the questions that they need or for the answers for the questions that they have. I'm sure they will get it.
Behind the scenes, though, investigators had their suspicions. Lil Deuce had many enemies, and any number of them had motive to want him dead. Police sources indicate they are probing possible links to the Bashville Crazy faction, BVC of the Black Disciples, the group rumored to be retaliating for earlier killings. They're also looking at a couple of individuals from the 600 set who had been threatened by Deuce in the past, but with zero witnesses and no ballistic match. The recovered weapon at the scene turned out to be Deuce's own handgun, not one used by the shooters. The trail is cold. Some even...
He never saw it coming, man. And when he did realize what was going on, it was too late. He couldn't even pull his own strap out. All bad. Everything happens for a reason, man.
The suspect a betrayal from within. Unverified social media chatter claimed that Lil Deuce had recently talked about leaving gang life. According to these rumors, he had told an OG that he was tired of constant war and wanted to focus on music, effectively denouncing gangbanging. If true, that could be a death sentence in itself. Gangs often view attempts to exit as treason. One Instagram post speculated he was set up by his own people for trying to quit. He let his guard down and they backdoored him.
I think it was the ops.
Comment read, implying someone close to Deuce tipped off the triggerman. A community member who knew Deuce says, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if someone he trusted lined him up. When you that deep, there ain't no getting out clean. Either your enemies get you or your so-called friends do. Chicago police have not commented on the inside job theory. Officially, they continue to investigate leads, urging anyone with information to come forward. Unofficially, few expect an arrest.
Yeah, because ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Now, like I said, if they put out a nice size reward, maybe they'll get some answers. It's a better chance of getting answers by putting up a lot of money, that's for sure.
As a veteran crime reporter notes, in cases like this, street justice tends to precede legal justice. If people believe they know who pulled the trigger, that individual becomes a target, and the cycle of violence continues. Jeremiah Lil Deuce Dawson's life was short, bloody, and emblematic of Chicago's ongoing gang crisis. In death, he has already become something of a legend, both revered and reviled. On one hand, his music continues to rack up views online. In the weeks after his death, fans left comments on his YouTube videos like "Long live Lil Deuce" and 20 souls for 20 years, hinting at the alleged body count he amassed. His tracks, gritty hood anthems about shootouts and survival, now play as eerie testimonials from beyond the grave. Local rap blogs note that Lil Deuce's post-Hummer streaming numbers have spiked. There's even talk of unreleased tracks that might come out as an album tribute backed by Lil Zay Osama's team. As a music industry insider says, in Chicago, you sometimes get more famous after you die, sadly. On the other hand, in the neighborhood scarred by the violence he partook in, many quietly breathe easier knowing Lil Deuce is gone. A man from a rival block, not hiding his relief, says he put in work, evil work. If you ask me, he got what was coming. To them, Deuce...
I mean, if you live by the gun, you die by the gun, man. And karma is real. You can't just go around doing all this bad and think nothing's gonna happen to you. I mean...
His legacy is simply the latest statistic in a war that has claimed far too many young lives. The broader community is left to grapple with the senselessness of it all. Activists held a small candlelight vigil on 93rd Street a week after the murder, not so much to glorify Lil Deuce's deeds, but to call for peace. They lit 20 candles, one for each year of his life, and perhaps symbolically, one for each of the lives he was rumored to have taken. One pastor urged a handful of attendees, this cycle has to end. Today is Lil Deuce, tomorrow is someone else. We can't keep burying our children. Yet, in the very crowd of that visual were young teens who looked up to Lil Deuce. Some wore t-shirts with his portrait airbrushed on the front, the letters LD, Long Live Deuce, scrawled in marker. To them, he wasn't a cautionary tale. He was a folk hero who stood tall in a world of danger. Until the day he didn't. One 15-year-old at the vigil even bragged quietly to a friend about wanting to earn a name like Deuce did. It's a chilling reminder that even as one legend falls, others are already on a path to take his place.
Damn shame.
In the closing chapter of this story, we return to that tragic scene on 91st Street. The camera pans over the now quiet intersection in Burnside. There is no memorial here, just a dark stain on the concrete where a young man's blood was washed away. A city truck has since replaced a shot-up street sign. The broken glass has been swept up. Life moves on. But for those who knew Lil Deuce and those who only knew his reputation, the story isn't over. There will be retaliations and reprisals, songs and social media posts, arrests and funerals, the cycle continuing as it always has in this part of Chicago. Jeremiah Lil Deuce Dawson lived and died by the gun. His tale is not just one of an individual, but of a community and a generation caught in a perpetual crossfire. It's a story of lost innocence, of talent twisted by circumstance, and of the thin line between notoriety and tragedy. In the end, the legend of Lil Deuce is a cautionary chronicle from the streets. Those who climb the ranks of gangland infamy often find that every step up is one step closer to the grave. It's a harsh reality, and for Lil Deuce, a reality that arrived all too soon.
Right.
As of November 2025, the murder of Jeremiah Lil Deuce Dawson remains unsolved. September 12, 2025.
And it probably will remain unsolved, I'm sure, as far as the law goes. But in them streets, the streets talk, man. People probably know who did that, who's responsible for whacking him. And I'm sure retaliation has been in play. It's a shame, man. You live by the gun, you die by the gun. And karma is a real thing. Let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. It's Big Lamar, not the little one. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. I'm gone.